Finally, we have come to the final week of our 40-day Food RX journey. Have you discovered something new? Do you now have a Food RX that you can sustain, tweak some more, and implement for the long haul so you can improve your numbers? Day 35 tackled the different stages of change. Dr. Timothy Harlan, in his book Just Tell Me What to Eat, mentioned the different stages of change. People who are in the pre-contemplation stage are not ready to make any changes at all. Their thought process will sound like this: nah, it's too much, and I don't have the desire nor motivation to change. I think I'm pretty good at where I am. People in the contemplation stage have thought about making some improvements. They're like, you know what? I can probably trim some more of this belly fat and reduce my risk for diabetes, with a bonus of looking better in my tankinis. People in the preparation stage know where they need to change and how much investment they're willing to make. They could be saying, I can start in January and invite my friends to do the 40-day challenge and turn it into a Saturday reunion event. We will hold each other accountable on which numbers we want to improve on, which could be our weight or waistline or LDL cholesterol levels. People who are in the action stage have written down their plans, attended the virtual Zoom meetings, cooked some of the recipes, did the challenges, and have achieved results from their efforts. People in the maintenance stage have recorded their numbers and vowed to maintain their newly adopted eating habits and Food RX, and even plan on improving some more. People who are in the relapse stage have finished the challenge but have gone back to their old ways, and so the yo-yo happens. What stage are you in right now? Have the readings changed your mindset, motivated you to improve your eating habits, and even prepared you for the next steps? What will help you this time? What more do you need to get motivated? Please share your feedback. On day 36, we talked about mindfulness, a Buddhist concept introduced by Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn to modern medicine. In the traditional culture, mindfulness emphasizes living the present moment with clear intent and awareness, non-judgment, and acceptance. Dr. Kabat-Zinn used the mindfulness-based stress reduction and utilized the power of meditation in clinical medicine to address chronic stress. We can use the same principles in our eating habits. Through the practice of mindful eating habits, we can make quality choices of food we can eat according to our body's needs, enjoy and celebrate food without binging, make every bite count, savor the flavor of each chew, and connect with the people we share our meals with. Food preparation becomes a joy and an act of love. We become more mindful of the ingredients we put and always think of the common good. We express our creativity and embrace our culture, trim off the unnecessary and excessive, and come up with dishes that nourish and make us feel good. Our bodies will feel the results of mindful eating when we feel less bloated, our gut works well in flushing out toxins and metabolic waste products daily, and when our skins glow from proper hydration and consumption of antioxidant-rich fruits and vegetables. When we feel better, we have more energy to serve the people around us and be present for them. It becomes a cycle that nourishes relationships. We then go beyond food and move into connection. We find less need to consume and will have more desire to give. We find pleasure in one bite and no longer need to consume a whole bag. We discover balance and learn how to enhance the flavor of food with different tastes. The challenge of the day: embrace failure, celebrate your humanity, learn to laugh at your mistakes, and learn from them. Then move on and find a different approach that brings peace, happiness, sustainable health, and well-being. Day 37 focuses on the ways we can prevent the onset of chronic diseases by being conscious of our numbers. To be conscious is to regularly check them and become aware of our risks. If we fall under the pre-hypertensive category, we can start consuming more potassium-containing fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, which may help lower our blood pressure. A glucose monitor is affordable. Buy one and check your blood glucose. If your fasting blood glucose is more than 100 mg per deciliter or more than 5.5 millimole per liter, you may be pre-diabetic. Check if your blood sugar spikes above 140 milligrams per deciliter or more than 7.8 millimole per liter 2 hours after meal. Focus on eating more whole grains and reduce your consumption of refined foods and sugar-sweetened beverages. We are familiar with BMI or body mass index, but if you're Asian, you may not be aware that the cutoff is lower than your Caucasian counterparts. Having a BMI of 23 already makes you overweight. The same goes for your waist circumference. If you're a male, target a waist circumference of less than 35.5 inches and a waist-to-hip ratio of 0.9. For day 38, we looked at the traits of people who live in the blue zones, which are regions in the world where people tend to live longer and healthier. Beyond diet and food, there are lifestyle and habits that are conducive to longevity. First, people move naturally. They don't wait to exercise to move. They're constantly on their feet and burning energy, even at rest. Second, they all had a sense of purpose. Third, they downshift before things get worse and know how to deal with stress. Fourth, they follow the 80% rule of food consumption. They stop eating when they achieve 80% satiety. Fifth, they eat mostly plant sources and prefer to eat them whole. They only eat meat once a week at most. Sixth, they drink wine with their meals and only in small amounts. 7. They belong to a faith community regardless of religion. 8. They prioritize their families and are committed to their life partners. And 9. They have a strong social network and connection. On day 39, we tackle the many factors that can affect weight loss and weight gain. Common ones are the resting metabolic rate, thermic effect of a meal, and thermic effect of activity. The resting metabolic rate accounts for 60 to 70% of our energy expenditure. Some people have high metabolism and others low, depending on hormonal factors, genetics, and even more importantly, the amount of muscle mass. Muscles are metabolically active parts of our body that constantly burn calories. This is why muscle training and exercise are essential. If our muscles are nil and not trained to work, sadly, our metabolic rate will also be low. Instead of glucose being converted to glycogen and stored in muscles for energy use, it gets converted to fat for future use. Interestingly, the people who regularly work out and exercise have fat cells located near the muscles, while those who do not exercise have fat cells dispersed randomly throughout the body. Training through exercise shapes the body's anatomy and physiology. Age will also affect the RMR. Due to hormonal changes in muscle mass, a grandfather may have lower RMR than his grandson. Thermic effect of a meal accounts for 8 to 10% of our energy expenditure. Whenever we eat, we also use energy to digest, absorb, and metabolize the food, and the thermic effect of activity. The more complex the food to digest, the more energy is required. Chewing food will require more energy than drinking a smoothie. Fiber-rich food will need more effort to digest than cookies and cakes. Not only will you spend more energy breaking down highly fibrous food, but you also absorb less, and your gut will move faster to get it out of your body as compared to high-sugar drinks and highly refined foods. The thermic effect of activity simply means that when you constantly move, your body burns more calories. Imagine how much calorie a boy burns when he is constantly sleeping, or a girl who is constantly running, or a man who is constantly walking. Each will be burning calories differently, even if they consume the same amount of food. Finally, day 40 tackled the topics on water, hydration, and wellness. An average urine output of a person is about 0.5 ml per kilogram per hour. So for a 50 kilogram person, this will be about 600 ml in 24 hours. The recommended water intake for a healthy adult female is 2 to 2.7 liters per day, and for an adult male is 2.5 to 3.7 liters per day. There are many factors that dictate the required water intake: age, activity, health status, and more. But there had been many evidences that show chronic mild dehydration results in renal stones, and increased water intake reduces calorie intake for some people. It's advised that we should drink regularly and not wait for thirst. Because our body is composed of about 60% water, dehydration can be life-threatening for some. Water is essential for many processes and we can't live without it. All living things, in fact, including plants, are comprised of water. Sometimes drinking enough water would address aches, pains, and conditions like migraine and constipation. During exercise, we need water and electrolytes. Some novice marathon runners collapse or die because of drinking too much water without the accompanying electrolyte, especially sodium. Hyponatremia, or low sodium in the blood, causes the brain to swell. It's highly advised to drink electrolyte-containing fluids after 45 minutes of exercise. A good way to ensure a well-hydrated state is to have a drinking bottle on hand and monitor one's intake. Water is so essential, and yet much neglected. Substituting water with sugar-sweetened beverages, especially soda, is an easy way to sabotage one's health. Sticking to fruit-infused or sparkling water or unsweetened brewed tea instead of soda is an easy way to reduce caloric intake. If you find it hard to adhere to the Mediterranean way, start with the simplest one on the checklist: drink your water requirement. Congratulations on completing this 40-day journey. Let this not be the end but the beginning of a better lifestyle, for we grow each year in an upward spiral, shedding off the old self and embracing the new and better versions of ourselves until we come to the perfection that we are called to be. If this journey ended up in failure for you, don't fret. The fact that you've tried and finished is already a mark of success. It may not have manifested physically, but mentally something has changed. And if the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak, then we may have to rely more on the spirit to lead our body and mind to freedom. I always believe faith can do more for us than our willpower. As a woman of faith and science, I believe that God wants the best for us. To lead an abundant life is to be free from bodily infirmities. Healing was part of God's ministry. Whenever I think of the Holy Trinity, I think of water as a perfect symbol to explain this mystery. Water has the same molecular structure of 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen, H2O, yet exists in 3 forms: liquid, solid, and gas. I liken God the Father as the liquid form present in the beginning of the world and created everything. Jesus is God the Son, the tangible one, like eyes, who came in bodily form that people touched and saw. God the Holy Spirit is a gaseous form that we can't see but exists within us. Just like water, God is essential yet often neglected. Perhaps He is all that we need to guide us into this journey towards health and healing. Through Him, with Him, and in Him, we can achieve healing and transformation. We only need to believe. Thank you for going through this journey with me. I pray for your wellness and good health.